was a exciting game, an open-ended game. I felt that that we were actually about to lose 5 or 6-1 at the moment, but we came back with the late goals from Ganacho and Ahmad, so the game ended 4-3. I would say a decent result when you look at the game, because I thought we didn't deserve much. I think Brentford out muscled us, a lot of crosses, much more organized than us. Visa and Buemo looks incredible. And it will be exciting to break down. We will do in-depth analysis. Tactical board will come up. I have a lot of live footage. We will analyze all the goals for you to see. So, guys, girls, get your comments in. Smash the like. Subscribe if you're new. And we will be back after the intro. Yes, and we are live with the tactical match reaction. Brentford 4, Man United 3. Yet another loss. How many losses are we up to now, Stu?
16, I think. I did look. I can't remember. 16, I believe. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we've won 10, and we played. Terrible. I think.
Yeah. Well,
something like
but I have to say, Stu, it's all about Europa League. So
yes.
The only worry in this game was the Delict knee injury, and he could be out for the rest of the season. We don't know. It was serious. He dropped down right away, and Brentford continued playing while Delict were laying there with his hand up in the air, and they scored. I don't know. It's unsportsmanlike, but it's not against the rule. It's only head injuries that can make the referee blow the whistle. So we will talk more about that. But first of all, I want to say hi to people tuning in. I see we have Dan P here, Jordan Wall, Eduardo Almanza coming in. We have Bauman. Afternoon, guys. Good to see you, everybody. If you are new, smash the like, and let's get going with the show. So, Stu, instant reaction. How did you feel after the game?
Look, I was a little bit annoyed during the game. I thought, a little bit like you know, for the third goal, Delict was down, but it's not essential that you stop. Brentford have got their own aims this season. We've got our own aims this season. That's to finish 6th from bottom rather than 4th from bottom. But ultimately, I was quite pleased and surprised that we kept going. It was a tough afternoon for the likes of Amos, which it was always going to be. I think you quite rightly pointed out Wissa. You quite rightly pointed out Buemo. They're a tough side, Brentford. They're physical. They're very well organised. Their short game is very, very good. Their long game is very, very good. They're an all-round decent side. And maybe our younger lads were left wanting. Obi Martin in particular, he struggled to get on any type of chances, struggled to get on the score sheet in terms of what he's done in the youth set up to compare to what he's done in senior football. And a lot of our players who haven't really played recently, were left wanting. And I thought it was a very disjointed performance by us. And I thought Brentford at one point looked like they were going to, like you said, we're going to take candy from a baby. We could have been 6-7-8-1 down. Would we have any complaints? No. Nice to see, though, that we kept on plugging away. We kept on coming back. Good finish by Ganacho, and it was great to see Ahmed get back on the score sheet. His first, game back, and he nets. So, are there any positives? Probably not. I think that Amarim will look at it and think my squad depth isn't where I need it to be. Anything outside the first 11, we've got problems. I think Delict injury is a problem that I think he's done now. We've only got 2 games left, plus the semi-final and maybe the final. So, let's finish strong. Let's keep going and win the Europa League, because that's really going to be the icing on a very, very, very ugly and shallow cake this season. See what happens. Depending what you read today and yesterday, it looks like Cooney is quite advanced now in terms of personal terms, things of that nature.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be interesting to see how that transpires. But we've got to look at it and say 16. Kev has just beat me to it. 16 losses this season is just unacceptable. It can't happen to any team. Shouldn't happen to any team, let alone Manchester United. I think Amarim will be glad when the season's over. I think he'll take some kind of solace in the fact that we've been better organised over the last 8 games. But I think ultimately, the players have let the club down terribly this season, and they've got to go out all out to win the Europa League. So, look, not great. Did we expect anything else? Not really. Damsgaard, put his foot in, didn't he, a few times today? Got away with it. Anthony Taylor was just abysmal as a ref. So it is what it is. It is what it is, pal.
Yeah. I'm just putting out the retweeting for people who are watching us on X, and I put the link in the chat so you guys can retweet and help us reach out to a bigger audience. A lot of comments coming in. I see Eduardo coming in and saying Amarim should keep improving the first team that's already lacks quality, and he don't have the luxury to experience. And but I feel now it's just about resting players, getting ready for the Europa League. Well, as you said, Stu, we have no squad depth, and a lot of these players, they lack both match fitness and the quality needed. Today, when it comes to my tactical analysis of the game, there's not much to say in a way, because I felt that Brentford were much stronger than us physically. They are much better organized when it comes to all of this, when it comes to crosses. And all their crosses came in behind our 3-back line, and they played it to the wing, cut back, came in with the cross behind our centre back, and then it made life really difficult for us. So if you see here, let's say Brentford were on the move with, for example, Coyote and Buemo, they usually went down, let's say, the right wing, cut back against Buemo, and the cross came in behind our centre backs, and they made life really difficult for us. And this were not on chance. Thomas Frank knows what he's doing when it comes to this, and it fills in with a lot of big guys. Visa, Schade, really good in the air. Yarmoluk, the Ukrainian guy, and it's a tough team to play against when they play like this. And I felt that maybe we need to be a little bit better, more aggressive. I think Amos had a poor game today, but he didn't got much help defensively from Ganacho. We both saw it when Ahmad came on. It's a little lackluster. They're not taking this serious when it comes to defending. And if we defend like this, we will at least concede 4 goals every game. And another thing I saw, what I felt was difficult today is the setup of the 2 DMs, especially when it comes to Ugarte as the deeper lying midfielder. He doesn't have the ability to hit it long, and how we transport the ball from behind to the middle third, that was one of my main issues. And we saw right away in the second half when Eriksen came on, it was another ball game. We started, Eriksen had the ability to hit it long, and it was more difficult for Brentford, because they are a really organized team, for them to stay compact. We stretched them out a little bit, and there were more space. And we could see it on the goals. We had the abilities for both Ganacho and Ahmad to get 1 against 1 against the fullback. And we know they are good individually, so they know how to we break down the man. So there's a lot of like technical issues, but from my perspective, I think the biggest issue tonight was Ugarte and his ability, because he's very limited when it comes to this, bringing the ball in. And both Frederiksen and Luke Shaw weren't the wide centre-back playmakers as we know Amarim wants. So both them two and Ugarte couldn't carry the ball into the mid-third and the last third. So that's where I thought we lost the game. I don't know if you noticed this too.
Yeah, I did, but the likes of Shaw has experience to understand how Amarim wants to play, and he should be able to adapt his game to how Amarim wants to play. I think you give Frederiksen a little bit of slack on that. He's a youngster, he's new to coming into the first team, but the elements that we've shown in previous matches with Ugarte and Casemiro, for example, has allowed Ugarte to not be the holding defender. Hence, he's able to run with the ball. He hasn't got a strength in passing. We know his long game is terrible, but his short game is pretty good. And Mano hasn't got a 30 or 40 yard pass in him either. When you look at the way that Mano plays, he likes to take it into the body, turn, twist, and move a short ball as well. So bringing Eriksen on, that allowed him to have a bit more freedom, have a bit more direction, have a bit more flair, was ideal. But ultimately, you lack when you lack aggression, and I've said this a million times. When you lack aggression in the team, and you've got nobody in there willing to really fight and scrap and punch and kick and scratch and spit your way through a game, because that's what you have to do. You're never going to overpower any team. We don't overpower teams, and that's a big problem for us. And Dorgu not at his best. Dorgu's not regressed, but he's not his best at the moment. Amos, it was a simple just welcome to top flight football. It reminded me very much when you go to Brentford as Wimbledon away back in the 80s and the 90s. And I once described Brentford a couple of years ago as running around like under eights, because they do. He makes them run around, they zip around like bees, one for the better word, using their nickname. And if you can't cope with that, if you can't cope with a player that's going to square you up, a player that's just going to grab you, pull you, try and move you out of position physically and mentally, then it's always going to be difficult. So I was disappointed with the result 4-3, but it was nice to see elements of us coming back. I mean, the Ahmad goal, I think the Brentford keeper would probably be a bit disappointed as it kind of went through him. But, he has the ability, doesn't he?
But it's a good shot. We will analyze it, but I think it's a good shot. And I think the reaction time for Flecken isn't there, because he shoots in between the legs of the defender and he sees the ball. Trajectory of the ball really late. So it's just one of those. So sometimes hitting it close to the goalkeeper is the best solution.
It is. Hit it on him. But you are right about our inability to stop the crossing. But again, we've always said, Brentford don't cross on the byline. They always cross about 20.
They cut back to the corner of the 18-yard box, and then the cross comes in behind.
And that's the dangerous part of football. And we don't do that. I've spoken about it a million times. That's where we should be crossing, the old Beckham style, and we don't do that. So, look, we just got to move on now, and it's that's good news.
Delict, he was limping, but no crutches. So
exactly.
It's better, but when it comes to knee injuries, it takes a little bit time for the swelling to go down.
Yeah,
so
you need the swelling to come down.
A scan, so we will probably don't know until
Wednesday,
midweek something.
It'll be Wednesday. The other thing is, I mean, Frank is, Thomas Frank's a really good manager, but I don't necessarily think he's some kind of tactical wizard. He just knows our inability, and the willingness of Buemo to run, the willingness of Damsgaard in there, the willingness of Wissa, the willingness of Schade. Just when you've got teams and players that are willing to run at you constantly, it just bears you down.
it feels sometimes like it was boys against men in
It
a way.
was, yeah,
It
it was.
was, it was. And yeah, we have a lot of youngsters, but they have to be, they have to have the ability to step up. As you said, this is the Premier League, and it's physical. It's the most physical league in the world, and they just
Yeah.
have to step up. You know, you
They better
can't
get
be
on the
afraid.
lights.
Can't be afraid to take a hit. You have to
Yeah,
be aggressive. Um, Roshmano coming in, big up Roshmano. He said Ange on Solanke and Madison. We'll see Dom's improving. We don't expect issues with him. Matters is a bit of a worry, but we'll get more information next day or so. So yeah, it's about Spurs. And they are facing a couple of injuries before the return game against
very
Bodø/Glimt
good.
in the Europa
Yes.
League. It will be exciting to see. We can talk a little bit about Europa League at the end of the show, but first I want to focus on this game. I see Luan France coming in and say 15 likes, 54 people watching. So please smash the like, subscribe if you're new, and all that jazz. Danny B
Yeah,
is here. Big up Legends, green and gold heart emojis. Big up Alien Tenno is here. Amarim has gotten 24 points out of 72 points. These are the facts. And I know,
great.
Alien, you texted me on WhatsApp 10 minutes, 15 minutes ago, and I know that you're not happy with Amarim, yeah. But I feel that we have to give him more time, and we are not at that stage where I will cry Amarim out, but he definitely needs to improve. But I won't judge him too harshly on these last couple of games, because we all know it's all about avoiding injuries and go into the semi-final, second leg Europa League, and try to get a result and get us over the line to the final. And without too many injuries, and as best of a match fit squad as possible. Danny B comes in and also say Ugarte excellent today, breaking up transitions and reading the second phase of play. Yes, I think it's good when it comes to certain aspects, but what worries me about Ugarte is he's kind of a specialist player, and he lacks the all-round abilities in some certain areas of the game. So when he's not paired up with the right midfield partner, his weaknesses comes through when it comes to my opinion, and I think we struggle a little bit because of this. It's not about singling out Ugarte. Ugarte is what it is. He has his abilities, so I can't expect him to do anything else. But I feel maybe if something, maybe it's a little bit on Amarim. Maybe he should have paired him up with Eriksen right away, because I felt that without Bruno on the pitch, there was no one else who can hit that long ball into the in behind. And there were I have no footage of Chido Obi Martin in this game, because there were no diagonals to run at. There was nothing to do. He
He
could
couldn't.
drop down and
He
receive
couldn't.
the ball, but he's 17 years of age, and he was up against
Yeah.
big, strong centre backs that were aggressive. So it's just one of these. Ifok Udofia coming in and say it was nice to see Chido getting game time, and fans understanding we just don't create enough for our strikers. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. And I'm also glad Bruno was rested, but conceding 4 costs because we prioritizing Europa is pathetic. It is conceding 4. We should be more strongly organized, and especially defending the wide areas. Luke Shaw and Harry Amos, Stu, what's your verdict on those two guys? Because I think
Luke Shaw.
Buemo was really good.
I think Buemo was probably rubbing his big fat hands together when he saw that team sheet, and it was read out by Thomas Frank and I before. This is who you're up against, and this is what I want you to do. Look, Harry Amos is a very accomplished footballer, very, very accomplished footballer. No problem about it. I like him, but this type of player, when you've seen him, Buemo, bully all types of centre halves. He's bullied the one and only indestructible Virgil van Dijk this season. He bullies players. That's what he does. He's aggressive. He's fast.
Yeah.
He's direct. He's tricky, and he will just give you no peace for the amount of time that he's on the pitch. And Amos was never going to survive. And you need to be looking at Luke Shaw, and Luke Shaw should be helping him, directing him, coaching him on that area about what you should and shouldn't be doing. And if you can't deal with Buemo, you switch. You stick Luke Shaw out there and you put Amos on at left centre back. You do something to make Buemo think about what he wants to do. But you always defend the zones. As a fullback, you always defend your zone. And he didn't defend his zone well enough. He was caught out of position a little bit. He was left kind of wondering, wanting. And unfortunately, and I don't mean this with any disrespect to Harry Amos, he was scared. You just see in his play, in his body language, his body shape, he was too tight. He wasn't loose enough because he was always worried about what Mbeumo would do to him. So this is where Luke Shaw has failed Manchester United. He's failed his career, but he's failed Manchester United, A, for not being fit and available enough, which is not good enough, and B, not helping a young lad against a very, very experienced, a very, very quick, and a very, very difficult player in Buemo. And you can't.
But when you think of it, we knew that they were going to go up against Buemo. So why couldn't they be ready for the battle that we knew that was coming up? And also when you look at the tactical board, I would say the diamond of Ganacho, Mainu, Amos, and Shaw defensively, it's weak.
Well, I was about to say that when you've got the dynamic of just Amos and Ganacho, it's weak anyway. It's lightweight. But again, look, Amos is what is he? 18 years old. I don't want to eat his lunch over it. I don't, and I refuse to. I blame Luke Shaw more. I blame Luke Shaw's experience.
Yeah, I agree. I do the same.
I think it was terrible. I think you've got to look after a young lad when you're doing it. I was one of Conor Cody's greatest strengths as a forward is the fact that what was that? Yeah, very cool. Yeah, very cool. I always think that Conor Cody's greatest strength is his ability to help nurture and kind of coach a younger player through a game of football. Luke Shaw should have been doing that with Harry Amos. He didn't do it. Again, you could have argued, look, we'll stick Amos and put Dorgu against Buemo. You could have easily done that. I've seen Amos play the right side on a couple of occasions for the 18s. So again, you can switch. So there's a bit of a dereliction of duty there. We've allowed a young player to get sucked in and harmed in many ways, and we can't allow that. We shouldn't do it. But Luke Shaw gets my the biggest blame for me. His performance was unacceptable. I didn't like Bayern Deer today. I didn't feel he was commanding enough. I think Delict got problems. I felt so sorry for Delict when you got Shaw and young Frederiksen. I like young Frederiksen. I thought he had a decent game, but again, he can't be really expected to, be the defensive shield, when you're playing against the likes of Buemo. So we know what Buemo is going to give, because a lot of us in this chat would look at Buemo and probably be happy to have him somewhere. If we weren't getting Cunha, we'd probably be happy with Buemo type player in our starting 11, because he offers a lot. But I just want to hope that Amos. I think Barman's right about experience. I totally agree with you on that. I just hope he goes home tonight, rewatches the game, looks at his position, looks at how he approached Buemo, and he takes it forward, because it's a really good learning curve for him anyway. But I think Luke Shaw was unacceptable today for me.
I see Bartime is in the building. Big up Bartime, and he actually sent me a message on Twitter DM. But he talked about defending the back post on crosses and our opposite wing back defending the back post, and we could see it in 2 of the goals. We struggle. And his question is: is this our new Achilles heel in a way? Is this a big weakness in this Amarim system?
What, defending the back post?
Yeah, with the wing back.
Yeah, look, we do, well, I'm actually confused on how we defend. Me and Bartom have had a kind of like a chat through the shows occasionally about whether we're a hybrid, whether we zone or mark, or whether we don't mark. Period. We just defend the line, defend the 6-yard box.
Because as you said, when we push, the wing back needs to drop in and defend the back post. That's his job.
Yeah, he should do. And so again, I'm a bit confused. I think he's right. I think there's 2 occasions where they got in and we didn't defend the back post, and it's not acceptable. But again, if you haven't got that leader in there, I'm not saying Delict isn't a leader, because he is, but young Fredriksen's got to understand his position. Luke Shaw should be, dictating to the likes of Amos, to the likes of Fredriksen, even to the likes of Delict. He's a senior footballer where he wants them. Then you've got Bayern Dia. He should be. We've said this before. Our goalkeepers don't surveil what's happening in front of them. They're looking constantly at the ball. They're not looking here. You as a goalkeeper, you can see out the peripheral when the ball's coming over. You should always know what's happening in the centre of your area, and we don't seem to do that. We just seem to watch, and then it's too late by the time we turn. And the ball's in the air, and chances are it's scored. So we just don't defend corners well at all. No, I'm not really quite sure why.
But Dave comes in with actually, that's a good observation. Either that or the DM drops into the back 4. So
ultimately, it's your wing backs.
Yeah.
Or your fullbacks if it's playing fullback. But Dave's right. You'd expect your DM in there anyway. I would.
Yeah, but there's absolutely no communication. That's, as you mentioned, by India, and there's no leader, and I think we lack a real leader in a lot of these situations. And Luke Shaw is no leader. Fredriksen is too young. I think Delict, he can be a leader, but I think he needs to step up. I think when Maguire's not playing, I feel that we lack at least someone who takes control of the back line.
Yeah, I think Delict's had 6-7 weeks out of the game. Coming back again, I know he played a few minutes the other day, but again, it's a tough one when you're coming in. You're playing against Wissa, who's just going to tear you a new one. Speed, movements. It's like a jack in the box, never stops. Constantly bang, 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 bang,
bang. Let's have a look at the goals. We can start with the Mason Mount goal, and it was a clearance from Flecken, and we won the ball. So let's try to analyze it. It was a long ball from Flecken. I think it's Ganacho who wins the header. No, he doesn't win the header, but he wins the second ball.
That's terrible, isn't it?
And it's a lovely ball here from Mainu.
Mainu, that is, yeah.
Perfectly with a backspin, and I think it lands quite well here for Ganacho. And if you look at Mason Mount's run in the middle, he comes in perfectly. And the cross is perfect, and it's a good finish. I don't know if there's much to say about this, but I think it's a good attack.
Yeah, this is what Ganacho is doing at the moment. He's in a non-thought process when it comes to that particular position. He's clearly been told, no touching, get that ball across, and today it worked. It wasn't the greatest ball, actually. I think defending was quite poor from Brentford. But at the end of the day,
it's so quick that I think they are getting caught out of guard a little bit.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, Mount comes in and he slides it home. It's a great finish. But once you go 1-0 up away from home, you need to concentrate. His run in the middle was absolutely brilliant. But they were just, it's inches, centimeters. He doesn't clear it. But at the end of the day, Matt gets in well. It's a good finish, really good finish. I think Flecken didn't have much of a chance.
No.
But it's an aimless cross, though. When you look at the cross at the time he crossed it, it's actually an aimless cross. But Mount makes it, scores a great goal. I was pleased. I was good to see Mount get one. We could if we can keep him fit between now and the end of the season, we might finish 17th. Sorry, 15th, something like that.
Interesting interesting comment here. The best part for me is the setup to recover the second ball around the Brentford header. Very simple. You can see how important Kobe's positioning is. So let's take it back to the beginning, and we see here the header, but the positioning here of Kobe, Mainu, Chido, and we make it difficult for them.
Look, ultimately, they probably knew that Ganacho wasn't going to attempt the header. He certainly was going to win the header. If the Brentford player had got his header correctly, we wouldn't be in that position. It's by virtue of their mistake that we get the goal. But you've got to be in a position to capitalise on any mistake, and Bath time's right. That's what we did.
Yeah.
And again, great finish by Mount. It's a difficult, it's a difficult opportunity. That was.
It was. I'm glad for Mason Mount. I think he needs a little bit of confidence. Today, I think he had a decent game. I don't know his stats, but he had scored 1 goal. Let's see.
Just a very quick one.
Yeah.
If you, he says here it's a brilliant cross. If you look at the time that he crosses to where Mount was, there was nobody in there. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying it's an aimless cross, in as much as, but it was. He's obviously been told to get into a position to strike the ball across, but he wasn't aiming at anyone in particular. And Mount was 4 yards back. Mount makes up the ground, scores the goal. That's the point I was making. That's all it was. Not an aimless cross. I was just saying sometimes you don't cross too quick. Maybe that's what got us the goal. I don't know, but that's what I was saying.
Second goal, the Equalizer 1-1 Brentford set piece goal, throw in. And when it comes to goals like this, we've seen this with Sunderland, Rory Delap, a lot of times. And the most important thing is, when it comes to this, it's not about the first ball, because when a throw-in comes in, the defenders usually win the headers. It's all about second ball and third balls. And again, I think we are too weak when it comes to winning the second and third balls. So it's a long throw-in. I think it's Mainu who wins the header, but you see the aggression in Amos. And it's an own goal there from Damsgaard into Shaw, and
it was.
It's not the best goal to concede, but I think the element here is the second ball from Amos, and I don't know, as a defender, could he have done something differently?
Amos.
Yeah, instead of launching into that duel, maybe he should have just stood his ground. And
it's always a difficult one, that, because when you look at where the ball bounces, it bounces halfway in between. But you'd think that Amos would be favourite for it, because he was actually running towards the ball, but he was a bit closer to it. This is unfortunately a young lad just not understanding what and where he needs to be at any given time. And I think he was worried about two things, and I hate to say it. One, maybe a penalty, but probably the more importantly, Jarvis getting clattered, because he turns his back on it, and you can't turn your back on it. You've got to go straight in. You see how he goes in on his side to turn his back, and what he's doing, he's trying to protect his body, he's trying to protect himself, and I understand that. So I'm not going to eat his lunch on it. He's a young kid. But after here, Damsgaard's on Shaw, I'm just not surprised.
Yeah.
Which, Bath Time says, can I have a look at Delict?
Okay.
Let me see if I can see what he's talking about.
Where is Delict?
Yeah. One thing, by the way, about the throw. The interesting thing to note about the throw is they're more dangerous than a corner or a free kick. because you can actually get accuracy. You know, you can throw it to exactly where you want it to be. I'm just trying to see where Delict would be. So is he?
Well, he has to be centrally, so maybe this is Delict.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah. Give it a Let's play it. Let's play it through.
Menu with the clearance.
Yeah.
And Delict also comes in.
Yeah, Delict's gone in on Manu there, which is putting him out of position.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's put him out of position. Hold it there. Right, the key element to this is now look how static. Yeah, but look how static we are. 1, 2, 3, 4 players didn't even make an attempt to come out. Delict, I can see what Bart I'm talking about now. Delict was trying to. If you go back again, Delict was trying to push out. He's trying to pull us out. Again, watch how static we are in there. You see where Delict is? He's trying to pull us out. It's too late there. He's realised. So he's woefully out of position. Bath time, you're absolutely right. And then he gets in So if you go back again, he comes across Shaw. He gets in Shaw's way. Shaw and Delict are both going. Look, there you go. So Shaw can't get across. Delict's fighting Shaw. Bath time, good spot that. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Great spot. Yeah, great spot.
And also, I would say when you look back,
but by the way, Bindeer was abysmal there.
I know it's nitpicking, but when you look at this situation, look at Ganacho here, how he just leaves all the responsibility to Amos in a way. Yeah. If he have gone a little bit deeper, he would have probably given Amos more of a free role to launch in. But he just points at him, and I don't know, a little bit about communication also.
The thing is, there's two things you can do there with Amos. You either go in with your knee up a little bit to protect you, protect yourself, but you obviously potentially then give away a spot kick. But the Brentford player didn't care. If you look at the way the Brentford player went, he was going in whatever. I was just going to have you whatever, and that is the problem.
Yeah, but it's not a coincidence that the guy who makes the throw is the guy who goes on the second ball.
Yeah,
and
well,
he comes
knows.
in with a lot of pace, has the momentum going into. If I know Thomas Frank right, I think they have done this on the training ground a lot of times.
100%.
Yeah.
Look, we can't defend corners, and we definitely can't defend long throws.
No. Lavani coming in, big up Tactical Devils, big up Lavani, good to see you. And we have MUFC 14 also coming in, and he had Buemo and Wissa as captain on FPL Fantasy Football. So you probably done well.
All right today, then. Yeah.
And Barman is actually asking where's the likes, folks. So if you haven't liked the show, please give us a like. Don't be a 007 agent and sit back, smash that like. That's our currency. That's what we need to get a little bit extra traction on YouTube. This came in from Barman a little bit earlier. And Jarvis, you don't expect Ugarte as a single man midfield? No, definitely not. And when it comes to this this single pivot midfield, I would say Ugarte's strength is being in front and actually launching, breaking up play. I don't see him as a deep lying. More of a number 8, not a number 6 for me.
Yeah.
So the midfield setup with Ugarte and Manu weren't quite right, in my opinion.
No, but I mean, the thing is with Manu again's been out for 12 weeks?
Yeah,
something along those lines. He's just getting back up to speed. It's not a workable solution, that one. We miss Casemiro terribly tonight.
Yeah, definitely we do. So that now the score is 1-1, and we come into the 2-1 goal, the one where Delict drops down with the knee injury. So Stu, let's have a look. Again, Buemo, he have just received the ball on the cutback. They did it all the time. Passes it to Wissa. duel with Delict. Delict drops down, and we can't win the second ball. Nørgaard is there to win the ball, and they keep playing. So in this instance, you see Man United players are starting to hesitate. They stop.
Yeah,
They
I'd like
walk.
to point out that Nørgaard was saying, "Put it out." If we go back, watch his gesture. Just play it. Watch his gesture. Watch his gesture. There, look.
Yeah, he points at the Ligt. He wants
the ball out.
Yeah,
that's a gesture. He knows.
Coyote.
We stopped playing, but the bottom line is, it is what it is. They didn't. They carried on.
But as a footballer yourself, I feel that it's a gentleman's sport in a way, and sometimes you just have to, even though the rules say play on, it's not a head injury. But I feel in a situation like this, play the ball out of play and
yeah, look,
play it fair. We all talk about fair play, but it's not fair play.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But if it's a tight game, I'm carrying on. I'm sorry, and I've done it. I've carried on. If it's a tight game, we need to win. I've carried on. The problem is you've got Ganacho stopping, and you've got Amos then completely isolated. You've got Mino
1 against 2.
Yeah, you've got Mino kind of concentrating on Delict, concentrating on the game. It's a bit of an issue. You can't rely on the referee to stop the game because it's not a head injury. Number one, you can't rely on that. So for us, as Manchester United, you've got to play. I mean, you've heard this before, Jarvis. I'm sure you tell your kids when you're coaching them, you play to that whistle. Play to that whistle all the time, and then see what happens. And some of us did, some of us didn't. A lot of us were caught sleeping. And Charlemagne says you keep going till the whistle. So I agree. I'd have liked to see some kind of fair play out of there. But if the roles were reversed, would we be arguing as Manchester United fans?
No. I'm just talking on a general standpoint when it comes to this. I feel in football, it's 11 against 11. If you gain an advantage of someone else getting injured or dropping down, and it's real, as a footballer if someone is faking or not.
Yeah, you do.
You know straight away, and you see the Nørgaard thing. He points at the Ligt.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
The funny thing is, Nørgaard is the guy who actually makes the play
because he carries on. He doesn't hit a whistle.
It's kind of a dirty trick.
Yeah, he doesn't play. He doesn't put it out, and they carry on. But we're actually set up okay. We're not disastrously set up, except Dorgu. Look at him sleeping.
Here,
you can tell here straight away sleeping.
But 1 second before this, Nørgaard is pointing at the Ligt. And Nørgaard receives the ball from Coyote. He's
doing it again. He's doing it again. He's doing it again. And then he says, "Well, look, nothing's happening." So I cross. Dorgu.
And now we talk about the defending on the back post.
Yeah, Dorgu is the wrong side. You don't defend in your box behind the attacker. You don't defend that way. It's just terrible defending. It's a foul as well, by the way. It's a push on. I can't see who that is, but he's pushing on him anyway. But anyway.
Yeah, I think it's Eriksen. But
yeah, it looks like Eriksen. But he's pushing on him, pushing down on him.
But he's I think Schade makes a brilliant header. He's high up in the air.
Yeah, it's a good header. But he's using Eriksen as leverage, though.
Yeah. Sides in the house, defense aren't used to each other. Yeah, I feel they are not. They are not. And Tyre Simba coming in and say, "Hey guys, big up." That second goal that Brentford scores pisses me off. When we put out the ball out of for the.
He's on about putting the ball out for the opposition.
Yeah.
Well, he says we always put out the ball for the opposition, which we do.
I see Rosmano coming in with a lot of Amarim comments. I will bring them up a little bit later. Rosmano, well, thank you for posting them.
If you go back to Dorgu, just quickly, if you just take it back, and that devilish tactic, as I've already mentioned, if you just go back a little bit more so we can see them, it's criminal, really, when you're not touch tight to him in that area, because and if you look here, I don't know what Dorgu was doing, but he's backed away from him somehow. If you're touch tight on him, you stop the run. You just grab his shirt. You put your foot down against his so that he can't run. You do everything you can to stop him. It's terrible. Very good header. He does get up, doesn't he? He does get up. Very good header, but it's terrible defender.
But I feel
it's not. It's definitely not Frederiksen, Danny.
No,
definitely
no.
It's
He's 1 against 3 in that situation, and it weren't the first time. It's not the first time when we saw Frederiksen up at 1 against 3, because
it
will go.
Dampy's right. Dampy's right. Try and back in too, but I don't think Frederiksen would have been aware that Dorgu would let him free. It's terrible defending, right?
But Stu, another question. What about Binder? Should he maybe stand in the middle of the goal, not at the front post?
Well, look, I always advocate.
More active.
Yeah, I always advocate it should be towards the, a little bit towards the edge of the area, so we can try and pick the ball out the sky. If you look at Edison, Allison, Sells, Vicario, you look at any of the, Raya, look at any of the Premier League keepers that always claiming the ball in and around the 6-yard box. We just don't claim the ball in and around the 6-yard box. I'd have brought him out a little bit. But Dorgu's the issue.
And just one other small observation is when we score the goal, Ganacho still stands here looking at Delict.
Yeah, Delict.
How many seconds you need to actually turn on again?
It's terrible. And one other thing, and I'm not going to eat Amos's lunch again, but he didn't get back quick enough to stop the cross, and he could have if he'd put the afterburners on. Anyway,
well, at least it doesn't matter in a way, if we come in 17th, 16th, 15th.
Amarim is right. The team stopped playing because of the injury. Mawene is also correct. We have 2 bad goalkeepers. I don't think we have. And Danny P, I'm angry at Binder for just waving this in. Yeah, please. He's right. You've got to try and do something. You've got, just even if Binder is a tall keeper, right? Even if he comes out a little bit joggers and gets a flick on, Schade doesn't get it, does he? He doesn't get it. Yeah, that's all you need. You just need a little flick. It's terrible. Terrible.
It is. Brentford, they had a lot of chances in the first half, but most of them were crosses in behind, as you talked about. But I would say one of the bright points were, let's see, I'm just going to find the right clip. Do a couple of more comments, Stu. I just need to find the right clip.
Yeah, so let's have a look. I think we've kind of done them. Let's see what else is going on here. Yeah, Shaw really needs to cover the near post zone with no player within 10 yards. Absolutely. I think you've already covered that. Dave says worryingly Dorgu doesn't look much more like a fullback. Yeah, I think you're right. He's not kind of Dorgu's just he's kind of, it's a bit of an issue for us. Playing 16 is away at Brentford, very unlikely to end well. I'd agree with that.
I just wanted to highlight this because I think we need to talk about this young guy, Frederiksen. I think 1 against 1 defending, especially recovery pace and positioning using his body, I think he's a brilliant defender. And this was late first half. He was up against Schade, and Schade is a really quick winger.
Yeah.
And if you look at this situation here, Frederiksen, he reads the situation, he reads the danger, but he doesn't launches in and loses all his composure. He slows a little bit down and is ready when the race is on. And he uses his body to hold him back and he actually wins the ball really well in this situation, and he wins the throw-in. So this is brilliant defending, in my opinion.
Yeah, he
But
did
you, as
well
a defender, how do you analyze this situation?
there. Two things. If he's what I would have done there, if he'd been roasting me all game, I'd have used the opportunity to absolutely smash him into Rosehead. If he'd been roasting me all game, I'd have used
Yeah.
that opportunity. What I like about him is his position. He kind of just stops a little bit, gets himself composed because he knows what Shade's going to run. That, do you see his little stop there? That's his stop, and that's what gives him the momentum to move to the right.
Yeah.
Once you get alongside him, then you're okay because Schade was always going to try and cut inside. And as soon as he tries to cut inside, you've got the extra yard space. You've got the extra yard on him. He's going to have to duck because he's going to have to lean into you. As soon as he starts leaning into you, you've won. Really good. But I would have absolutely smashed him if he'd. If you go back to the very, very beginning of that, and he'd been roasting all game, I've got the speed, time, and I would have absolutely taken him out. That's just me.
But I think he's a centre back talent beyond, and how he keeps his balance in a situation like this. It's not always easy, He's coming from kids' football, under 18s football, and up against Schade, one of the in-form wingers in the Premier League at the moment. I think he was brilliant today, and probably man of the match for Brentford. So it was
very good. Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah. So and Simba comes in and say, I like Frederiksen. He's a decent player, and I thought he did okay. The senior players could have helped him more. Yeah. So
we just don't have
that. So yeah. And Danny B comes in. Remember, he was injured.
He was. Yeah.
I believe I saw a YouTube video about Frederiksen, and I think he was in Ten Hag's plans. He was one of Ten Hag's main centre backs to come up this season.
Yeah.
But the injury ruined a lot for him.
Good player, really good. I like him.
Yeah,
I like him.
Saeed also said
Frederiksen. Right. Difficult game for him today. Very, very difficult game for them all.
Erik Ten Hag loved him. Yes, Danny. You probably seen the same thing as I saw. So the future looks bright with a defender like him.
It does. We've got an excellent academy, and I like him.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're up. Game is 2-1 to Brentford. They are on the attack, second half. So let's have a look at this goal. The 3-1 goal from Brentford. It's Nørgaard. I think it was brilliant today. Buemo is from Damsgaard here. Buemo, and then we have Harry Amos up against one against Buemo.
Yeah.
Maybe should be a little bit more aggressive, a little bit tighter, but it's also about leadership and the senior centre backs pushing him out, talking to him. One against one, maybe should have done better. The cross comes from Buemo into the middle, and I think it's Schade there again. And Frederiksen, you see, he's on his own when the cross comes.
Frederiksen had no chance. Amos was very slow and nervous again. You know what I was saying about he was quite nervous. That was a nervous piece of play by him. What's he going to do? Is he going to rush me? Is he going to attack me? Am I going to trip him up? I'm going to give a penalty. When you're 2-1 down, the last thing you want to do is give away a penalty. But I think a lot of players, footballers in the chat would tell you you'd rather Amos make some kind of tackle, make an attempt to make a tackle. Maybe if it goes over, you still got a 50-50 chance of saving a penalty. He's a decent penalty stopper, isn't he, Brian Deere?
Yes, he is. When it comes to his positioning, body positioning,
he's all right.
His aim is leading him down to the byline.
Yeah, he's okay. He's not too bad there. Because you can easily recover that, which he did. He recovered it there. You can see he was pushing him that way, but he wasn't pushing him that way because he wasn't square up on him. And what I mean by that, look there, look where he's trying to push him. He's trying to push him to the byline, but you're not square up on him. He needs to be 2 yards to the right, as we're looking at. so he's blocked, and then he'll push Buemo and Buemo down the line. But he won't understand that during the match. He won't get that during the match. You need Eriksen to come across there. Is that Eriksen? Yeah, you need Eriksen to come across and block that little area where Amos is missing. So again, Eriksen hasn't helped him. Ganacho hasn't helped him. Nobody's helped him at all. He's there learning on the job, and it's very difficult. And that, because he wasn't square on him, Jarvis, gives him the chance to come back in, put the cross in. Yeah. And as for Fredrickson, he had no chance.
No, but you look at Ahmad. Maybe smelled the danger a little bit earlier and helped out.
They should. Maguire's out of position. Yoro's out of position. He had no chance. Again, buying dear. Why didn't he come out and try and do something? Schade puts the ball. He's on the 6-yard line. Yeah. Why don't you come out and try and do something? He's not doing it.
But if you're going to be good claiming crosses, I think you should be more positioned centrally in the goal. But you look at Bayindir a lot of times now, he stands at his front post, and when the cross comes, he needs to use a lot of his momentum to shift in towards the goal. So he's totally out of balance when the header comes. So he has no chance of saving that one.
If Schade misses it, the other player pops it in. It's fucking abysmal.
Yeah. Errors everywhere. Keeper.
There was. I mean, but like I say, it's fine margins when you're a fullback, Jarvis. It's just fine margins. 2 yards on that occasion. Do you see what I was saying though? If he'd squared him up, and Buemo wouldn't have got that room for the cross.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not having to go with him. I feel like I'm having to go with him. I'm not. He's a young lad. He's learning his trade, but you've got to be helped. You have to be helped by senior professionals, experienced players. Eriksen would have known what Buemo was going to do because he played with him.
Yeah, I think people know that we're not taking. I will never take a dig at young players.
No, I'm definitely not.
On the game. No,
I feel like I am, and I'm not. I promise you. I like Harry Amos. He just needs help. You just need help in games like this all the time.
Yeah. I even gone as far as I said I think Amos is ahead of Dorgu when it comes to being the wing back for next season.
He's a wonderful player, Jarvis. I do. I think we just know that Buemo is at a higher level. It's not Amos.
I think he scored 18 goals this season, I believe.
It's not Amos's fault.
No,
he's But again, I hope he doesn't get upset. And I hope he goes home and watches it. He can just have a look and think, you know what, I can see where I've gone wrong there.
And he just needs to play more, just to gain experience.
Absolutely, Dan. You're absolutely right, mate. He just
and this is the problem actually coming on. And we all talk about bringing in the youth, but this is the problem because our squad is so deficient, and we like throwing them through the wolves, to the lions, and it's not an easy job, and it can break a young player also. Coming in and having an experience like this.
Yeah, we've seen great players. I'd like to think Amos has got a bit more about him, and he can just get on, brush it down, no worries, keep going.
Yeah. So, what do you think about this? He's not ready. Needs a loan.
No, to be honest, Simba, I was asked, I don't know, 4 months ago, wasn't I, about Chido, and I said it's too early for him, and I made that point that we haven't got the players that support the younger players coming in. I don't think Amos necessarily needs a loan. I'd like to see Chido go out on loan, though. Don't think Amos necessarily needs a loan, Simba. I think Amos can come in and do a good job next season. I agree with Jarvis, but Chido, I would send him on loan, absolutely. Amos, no. Chido, yeah. And you have got to get Ahmad. Yeah, Jarvis, you did, old friend, and you're right. Terrible. He's just watching. All watching.
Next clip, I think now we are 3-1 down and right ahead on the goal kick. I think they went into attack and scored the 4-1 goal. And at that moment, I felt that the game was done. It was over. Yes. We had nothing. And I was afraid that it was going to get ugly. So now we see here Brentford is I think it's Buemo again against Amos, 1 against 1. Eriksen is there to help him, but look how we are defending. Eriksen is so weak. He just walks through us. So you're not even bothered. This is not how you defend. Look at Eriksen and Amos.
Oh no, it's terrible. Again, Amos, his body position was okay. Great overlap, by the way. Did you see the overlap? Brilliant overlap.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Amos was okay there, and he just hadn't quite worked out. And Buemo likes to come in. He likes to come in on his left. But Eriksen, terrible. Eriksen was a bit closer to Amos that time, but it was a terrible attempt.
But Eriksen, look, this is why we struggle with playing Eriksen.
Yeah.
You can't defend like this.
Oh, no, it's just abysmal. You've got to go through him, Buemo, there. You just got to go through him. And that's what gives Ugarte the problem. So.
But it's so easy, just cuts in with outsiders of his foot, just walks almost like
that was nonchalant.
The ball. Yeah, there's no explosion, there's no urgency from Buemo.
He's on holiday. He's on holiday then.
And he placed the ball into Damsgaard. No, it's Jensen that came in and brilliant.
Yeah, it's a fantastic ball, that is. Here we go. Lovely goal, that.
And we had completely lost everything.
Yeah, it's too easy, but lovely goal.
Look at our defense. Amos, Euro, Harry Maguire, Fredrickson is up here.
Fredrickson's woefully out of position for the first time all game, by the way, Jarvis. Yeah. Fredrickson's way out of position. Ahmad looking along the line. Really, you got to try and get in between the two. You've got to cross to Wissa. You got to do something, but it's just too weak. I mean, look at it. It's a bit. Ahmad was horrible there. Absolutely abysmal.
Imagine Amarim analyzing this footage after the game. Yeah. Where do we even start?
Well, the problem here is that where's the will and want to stop a goal? Where's the aggression? You can see what's unfolding in front of you. Piss poor, as Danny says. Danny's right. I'm going to put this comment up. Piss poor.
Yeah.
Fucking right. Where is the look? He's still not even near Wissa. Ahmad. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 players unmarked in that Brentford players unmarked in that. Amos again. I don't want to. I'm not going to say anything about Amos. I'm going to leave him alone. But again, he was too slow. He wasn't quick enough at trying to get back. He's a quick player. But Buemo's probably ripped him to shreds. Maguire, I don't know what he's doing. Fredrickson. Let me just tell you something about Fredrickson here. Look where Fredrickson
he's the first guy.
Yeah. He's the furthest defender, but he's the first one to get back. Look at him. He's the first one, but he's Ahmad stops here. Yeah. What's Ahmad doing? It's just terrible. It's fucking terrible. Anyway.
Yeah.
You do get lost for words. So you're watching the game and you're completely lost for words, aren't you? I was.
I'm glad I'm not Amarim, trying to help the players understand how to defend. If this is their level, we are in for a long run of conceding a lot of goals.
I would imagine Amarim is going to. But don't forget, players are leaving, aren't they? Eriksen's going in the summer. We know all this. Lindelof, the players going in the summer. So.
Tell you, Simba, so that defense isn't the same without Delict, Licha, and Mazraoui.
No, Simba, I agree to an extent. I'm not so sure right now about the longevity of Licha from an injury perspective, pal. I think an injury-free Licha, absolutely. I think you're spot on. I think he's a brilliant player. So much so, I'd put him on left wing back. But anyway, that's another story. Simba. But if we can keep him fit, you're right. But there would be an argument to say, and Jarvis is going to give you an argument on this one, that no Maguire, and he's been quite pivotal to us this season, Maguire.
Maguire's been really good, and he will at least stay on for one more season. And I think we need the
I think
experience.
he
We need
stays
a
on for
little
one more
older
season.
heads in
Yeah,
this
I
squad.
think
We
he
have a lot of
stays on.
young kids, so we need a
Yeah.
couple of leaders. And what we've seen from Maguire this season, I think we all agree that he's been really good, and he
Yeah, he
deserves
has.
another year.
Yeah, I think the problem that Amarin will be thinking about Leacher in particular is cover
Yeah.
and coverage, on what coverage we'll have just in case he has an injury. But other than that, Simba, I would agree with you, pal.
Really,
He
you
does.
want
I read
another
that. Yeah, I
year?
read that yesterday. Yeah, yeah. He wants to finish his career at Manchester United.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm worried about that. So no, he
No.
does. No, he does. He does.
Yeah, but I don't want to give him another 3 year
Yeah.
contract. He's on
His
on
ACL might finish.
190K a week.
Yeah, I think you might have to take a reduced salary, Jarvis. But you're right. His ACL, that's his issue. His ACL. It's a shame because I think Leach is a great player. Sorry, Bath Time Maguire is our best centre back. Yeah, he is indeed. Harry Maguire.
Harry, the Magic Maguire. Ganacho goal. And
Fantastic!
what we missed in the first half, especially,
He did.
with the wide centre backs. Now we saw Lindelof coming on, and Lindelof actually did quite well. And this is what I would like to see more of from our wide centre backs. When the space like this, you have to react.
You've got to attack it,
and you have to
that space.
Look at him going into that space, playing the ball, and Eriksen, he jumps over it. He has the vision. He knows that.
That was
Amos.
that was Lindelof of about 4 years ago, wasn't it?
Yes,
A great goal. It's about
look
time
at
someone
Buemo.
shot Buemo in his arse, isn't it?
It was a good one from
It's a
Eriksen.
brilliant goal.
Jumps
It was a
over
great
jumps over the ball and keeps it 1-2 simple. This is what Eriksen likes to do. Keeps
It was a
everything
great
ticking.
goal. Yeah, it was a great goal.
It's a brilliant finish.
Yeah, it's a brilliant finish. Yeah, it took it well. It was only going in one. It was the only place he could put that, Jarvis.
Yeah. So Ganacho, I think he needs a goal.
He had one of those games today, didn't he? He drifted in and out, but when he was out the game, he was really out the game. But it was a lovely finish. So.
And I love the Ganacho and Ahmad goal from entire Simba. Yeah, I think we all did. It's good goals, and again, I think we are able to stretch them out. We are able to carry the ball into the last third. I think these are vital things for the Amarim ball to work, because we have already created overloads in those areas because of the setup and the formation. So
yeah,
it was a good one. And now we have just the Ahmad goal left. And I have other situations, but I don't feel that we need to go through this. It's not that type of game where I will overanalyze anything.
No, I don't think so. Just a quick one though, and I think this is something you brought up before. Do you think we deliberately cultivate open space? There seems to be something that happens a lot. Absolutely, I believe we do. Eriksen, in particular, the midfielders drag players and the strikers drag players in to allow that space. Normally, it's occupied by our very own Casemiro.
Yeah. Casemiro's been brilliant this season, and now he's starting to look like the old Rolls-Royce Champions League Casemiro. Yeah. Casemiro.
Is this which one? Is this the Ahmad goal, Danny, or Ganacho's?
Well, we can go through the Ganacho, the Ahmad goal too. Yeah. I think it's Ugarte.
It's Ugarte, yeah.
Okay, let's just slow. Yeah, slow down.
Here he is.
But you see here, when our wingers comes 1-against-1, they isolated 1-against-1. I think they are good enough to beat their man. Yeah. And you also see the semi-diagonal run from Manu here, opening up the space in this area. So it opens up the space for Ahmad to cut in and shoot. So
can I just point out that it's not just Amos that gets it slightly wrong. He again is a yard too far ahead of Ahmad. He watched the
Where's
defender.
Amos?
No, look, let's stop that defender there. He's a yard ahead of Ahmad.
Mm.
So it gives Ahmad the space. If you draw a line from Ahmad to, is that Kobe there?
Is Kobe, yeah.
Yeah, you draw a line from Ahmad to Kobe.
Yeah, I can't. It's not
Yeah, but if
working.
you do,
The etchy sketch is not working.
yeah. So where that line is where the defender should be,
Mm.
and
We need
that's
to move up a yard.
yeah. So that's so it stops Ahmad coming in on his left, and you kind of then force them a little bit to you square them up basically. But he doesn't do it. Ahmad comes in, bang.
Mm-hmm. But he set up 1-against-1, and we know Ahmad is really good. How he shifts, and it's a good finish, and it's a tough one for Fleck. And I know it looks like a goalkeeper mistake,
yes.
but look how tight it is on the defender.
Yes.
And do we really see the? Yeah, he sees the shot.
It's gone through defender's legs. That's what he'll say. The keeper.
Yeah.
That's what he'll say. I didn't see it. I didn't see it. You're in my fucking way. That's what my keeper would have said to me. I blame you for that. That would have been my fault.
Is he touching the defender's knee right here?
I think it may have got a little deflection. I mean, look, ultimately, I think if it's a clear strike, I think Flecken should save it. I've said that before. But I think going through quite a large defender, he will argue that he didn't see it till late. That's what he'll argue.
But it's a good goal. So at the end of the day, we lost the game by 1 goal. Not the worst of result. In a way, I felt it could have been worse.
It could have been worse. I think when you look at that game 4-3, well, that sounds a really exciting game. But when you actually see it and you analyse it, it's just full of mistakes.
Yeah.
It was full of all Brentford's goals were just errors by us, slack defending, and our goals were okay. Maybe Ahmad is free from. Sorry, I can't remember. Maybe you're right. Actually, the best goal was the Mount goal. That was the one that was crafted properly. That was a properly crafted goal. So, yeah, I'll agree with you on that one, pal.
Yeah. So, man of the match. Top 3 contenders.
Oh God, I'm not really sure. I'd stick Fredrickson in there because I thought he was good. Mount was decent. Ugarte, probably. I think Ugarte, maybe.
Ganacho goal and assist.
I'm going to go with Ugarte, Mount, and Fredrickson. Because I think for a very tough afternoon, I think Fredrickson covered himself in better glory. If you're choosing me for man of the match, you're pushing me for that. No, let's see what everybody comes up with. I'm going to bottle it today.
I will start a poll.
Yes, have a look at a poll.
So I'll just say man of the match. So we go with Mount.
It looks like Ugarte's got it.
So we go with Mount. Ganacho because a goal and assist.
And you got to go Ugarte because it looks like he's the
Fredrickson and Ugarte. Okay, get your votes in.
Get your votes in, please. I think it's a tough one. You can't give it Fredrickson, unfortunately, because we can see it before, but I think he played pretty well.
Yeah, I think the stand-up performances were Mount because he scored a goal, Ganacho goal and assist. Ugarte was decent. I think he kept things ticking, but for me, I think it lacks a little bit. And young Fredrickson, I think he had a decent game, but can't give him the man of the match.
No. I'm going to go with probably Ugarte. I think it's probably the consensus, but I think I'll go with Ugarte today.
Ugarte, okay.
Yeah, it's one of those for me where I don't think anyone was particularly outstanding and warranted an MOTM. That's just my own personal opinion.
So Ugarte gets 62% of the votes.
It's a straight win.
Yeah, it's a straight win. So yeah, people are agreeing Ganacho or Ugarte, but Ugarte.
Yeah, again, good call there. Ahmed is free from the whatever that is.
From Ted Haram.
From Haram, yeah. But I don't know if you're watching. I did suggest that your goal was the first goal was the most crafted goal. So I'd agree with you on that one.
Yeah. So that leaves the analyst of the game. There's not much to say, but I want to move on to Thursday. We are second leg European semi-final.
Yes,
we are 3-0 up. How do we approach the game, Stu? Do we go into the game by thinking we just need to defend the lead and just get over the line, or do we go out and just try to score one and kill the game? What would you have done if you were Amarim?
You go into a game like that where you're 1 goal behind, you're losing 1-0, and they score another goal, you're 2-0 down. So it's critical you don't concede. So your mentality is it's 1-0 to them, and we've got to win that game 2-0 to go through. That is your mentality. If you go in at 0-0, or you go in any other way than that you're losing and you're behind, you won't win that game of football. We always go in with the psychological, we are losing and we have to score twice to go through.
Yeah, I think maybe that's the best approach. Well, from a point of view, do you think we are able to fuck it up?
I actually think we will win 2-0 anyway. I think they think it's over. I think Valverde knows we will score at Old Trafford.
They will have to depend on scoring an early goal, at least be 1-0 up after the first half.
Yeah, he will know that we will score at Old Trafford. So he's already thinking that we've got a 4-goal deficit. He to them will be, you're 4-0 down. You're not 3-0 down. You're 4-0 down. You have got to go and score early doors. You've got to try and get 2. He will want 2 goals at half time.
Yeah, okay.
So it's completely the opposite for us. He thinks they're 4-0 down. We think we're 1-0 down. And that's how you approach that game. You have to do that. Otherwise, Bodo Glimt will go in it knowing that if they can get 2 in the first half, they'll go through.
Yeah.
That's Bodo Glimt's thing. For us, we've got to score twice. That has to be a mentality. Because 2-0 takes it to 5-0. Game over.
Entire Simba agrees with you. He thinks that's a good approach. And Dave comes in and says, if you concede first, it's going to be a roller coaster again. Yeah,
absolutely.
We know that our players drop their heads when the top gets going. And, I don't trust them. And we have to rely on Maguire, Casemiro, Bruno to drag us over the line.
Yeah, you can't keep doing that.
No,
we can't keep doing that. We've got to be able to get over the line without relying on these big players. We got Bruno back. You'll have Casemiro back. We'll have Yoro. We'll have Matsari back. We've got some big players. I think even Ahmed might even start Thursday. As a goal threat. Højlund will be back. Not as a goal threat, but he'll be back. So we've got a nice group of players to come back. But we can't afford for a Nana to chuck one in.
I think, Stu, we have to do make the show tomorrow, the Jarvis's Corner, about the Europa League game, and maybe look at the alternatives. Who will we start? As you mentioned, starting Ahmad, for example. I think that's an interesting one. And set up.
While we're at it, we have Mr. Hackett will be joining us again. He's been emailing me today. He's actually sent me something, which me and Jarvis will go through. I'll send to Jarvis, but he sent me some figures from the PGMOL, or what their turnover is and costs, etc. So I'll send this to Jarvis, and we'll publish that.
Okay. So when is he available? What are we aiming for?
We can have him next Friday, or this Friday coming, if we want. So basically he's saying I'll have to have a look at the figures, and I'll send it to Jarvis, but when he was boss of the PGML, they were spending 5 million. Oh, crikey. Jesus, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Anyway,
Okay.
we'll share that with you. But so if you've got any questions for Keith, let me and Jarvis have them. We're going to do a Q&A session with Keith on Friday.
Yeah.
And so I'll arrange it this week. We'll do a Q&A session with Keith. So get your questions in.
I promise you guys that we are just going straight through the Q&A. We're not going to spend the hour talking to Keith. Just you and I. We need you guys to get your questions in, and that's a good thing. We promise you, and I will keep that promise. I will keep my mouth shut and
we won't speak. I won't ask him any. I won't interview him and ask him any questions. And you can ask him whatever questions you like, because he loves coming on the show, and we're very fortunate that he chooses our show to come in. So any questions you've got, please let them come in. But I think it's a good idea. Jarvis corner tomorrow. Have we got guests tomorrow? Have we got Bombaye or?
I will send out some invites. Maybe Bombaye, maybe Mick, maybe Noradin will jump on. We'll see. Maybe Cass, I can ask him. Maybe he will come on. So we'll be making an interesting show.
Also, guys, any of you in the Devilish Tacticos are more than welcome to come and join us for some live chat and debate. We'd love to have you on.
If you want to come on the show, send me a DM. You can hit me up on X Bowley77 and send me a DM.
Because we'd love to have you on.
Because everyone, I love the footballing knowledge from the Devilish Tacticos. All of you guys, Danny, Dan P, Bad Time,
all of you, big supporters.
I have no problem bringing you on the show.
Great.
You know your stuff. You probably know
more. More than us. Me and Jarvis, we just get through. You guys, we read your comments out. Yeah, he's absolutely right. You know more than us about the game. We'd love to have you on. It'd be absolutely brilliant. Really, really would be. You're more than welcome. All of you.
100%. And by the way, I would love that you can come on camera, but if you can't, that's okay. Also, I understand. It's a tough one. Sitting here on worldwide YouTube showing your face, and it's not everybody has a job or an occupation or thing that they can actually do that.
They can do it, correct?
Yeah. Question coming in from Lavani coming in. Do you think Amarim's system is stiffing Kobe Mainu?
I think it's a bit of a difficult one because we haven't seen enough of Mainu under Amarim, have we? Again, Mainu's been out for something like 3 months. I think next year will be an interesting. I'd like to see Mainu move up to a 10 anyway, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
It'd be a better 10 than an 8. So not just yet, Moani, but I can see where you're coming from. I think it'd be interesting to see. Give it another 6 to 8 months. I think we'd have a much better idea of where he is.
Yeah, I see Danny B also say not if he plays in the right 10. So I think Danny agrees with you.
Yeah. I like this one.
Agile Beast 21 comes in and say I need to invest in a decent webcam. Yeah.
But again, you're more than welcome. Just come on. Even if we're in the show, there's just me and Jarvis. You want to come on and have you say, Jarvis will send you. We'll put the link in the description and away. Just come on. Just come in, and interact. You're so.
Maybe we should do a call-in show.
Yeah,
open up the line.
Fan show. Do a fan show. Yeah. I mean, you guys are massively supportive of myself and Jarvis, and it's difficult to say, but we really appreciate it. Can't thank you enough. You tune in every show. You got some great insights, so I'd love to see you guys. Love to see you guys join us.
And Taya Simba also say, I don't think Kobe suits his system. Hopefully can develop and prove me wrong. And I feel, but there was some interesting comments from Amarim coming out a couple of weeks ago when he said that that he wasn't fully up to speed. His injury kept his pace down, so he can't run properly yet. So I think there's more to come when it comes to Kobe Mainu.
I think so.
Big up Blue Man.
Yeah, that's an interesting question, actually. And I don't think anyone's actually got the answer to that one, Luman, because I don't necessarily... I think anyone who knows anything about the game, which everybody in this chat does, probably, if they're being honest, and everybody is honest in this chat, didn't necessarily understand or watch Ugarte prior to his PSG, where he wasn't really playing at PSG. We know that Amarim had Ugarte before. a couple of times. I don't think we're seeing anywhere near the Manuel Ugarte Amarim has seen and coached before. I think there's a lot more to come from him. And again, I think it's an issue with players around him who don't know how to get the best out of Ugarte. And I think that once Amarim gets players that he wants to play in his system, I think you may see Ugarte flourish more. If you look back at what happened with Casemiro at the beginning of the season, why he wasn't playing under Amarim. Casemiro was old enough or long enough in the tooth to go away and work on his game to make sure that he got into Amarim's team. And we speak about this a lot, don't we?
Yeah.
Why aren't you understanding more of what the manager wants from you? Why aren't you looking at previous teams 2, 3, 4 years ago under Amarim, seeing how they play? Why aren't you adapting your game to do that? And I think that's and yeah, Simba's got the point that we're trying to make. And I think that's the difference. I think some of the players are quite lazy, and some of the players like Casemiro has really embraced what Amarim wants to do, and he's made himself invaluable.
I read this one today, Stu. I just want to have your thoughts on it. Is there any possibility that we can go for a play like Cole Palmer?
Would you not agree? And Devilish Tacticos, I'd love to know your answer. Would you not agree that Maresca is, for whatever reason, there's 2 Cole Palmers this season, hasn't there? There was, up until Christmas, the best player in the Premier League by fucking miles. I mean, miles. So they don't hear of anymore.
Yeah.
What's Maresca done to him? I mean, look, if somebody could shed some light on to that, I would love to know. But what has Maresca done to Cole Palmer?
I feel Maresca, I think he likes pace, and you see others of the attackers say more pace.
Yeah.
And I think Cole Palmer is not that type of player. So
is he playing today? Is he playing at the moment?
I haven't checked, but entire Simba comes in and say we can't afford him.
Chelsea are winning. They're winning 1-0.
Yeah, I saw. I think maybe Enzo scored the goal. So,
Enzo, was it?
I think so, but don't arrest me on it. And another thing, Stu, this just happened. Man United women.
Yeah.
Your old friend said all for United, full-time Man United women, 2-2 against Manchester City, and they have secured a top 3 finish in the Women's League and will enter qualification for Champions League next year.
Champions League, yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. They've had a really good season, United women. It's good to see. I must admit, I'm really pleased.
Yeah,
really pleased.
It will be interesting. So it's good. At least one of the main Man United teams qualify for Europa Champions League next season. Maybe
Palmer's in the side. He's in the side.
Yeah.
He is playing today. Look, I don't think we could beat. We could afford Cole Palmer. I agree. I like him. I think he's a fantastic player, but I don't think we can afford him, especially if we're going after Cunha. Maybe Gyökeres. We don't know, do we? What we're doing striker wise. There seems to be. Nobody seems to know what's happening striker-wise. One minute we've signed Osherman. The minute we've done Gyökeres. Gyökeres was interviewed, wasn't he, 2 days ago? Or 3 days ago, and he's come out and said, I know where I'm going, and I like the manager I'm going to play for, and he likes me. Or something along those lines. So who knows? Who knows? It'll be interesting to see. But good to see the girls doing well. We don't, that's actually, guys, it's something me and Jarvis don't really talk about is the women's game. If you'd like us to talk more about the women's game, then please let us know. We
at least give them
know a
credit
little bit
when
about
they're doing well. So, I appreciate the women's team. I don't follow women's football, especially, I have to admit, but, I'm glad that they're doing well, and maybe I should just look more into it.
Yeah.
Is it Skinner still the coach? Skinner still
yeah, he's signed a new deal. Yeah. So if you want us to talk about the women's game, we can. If you don't, but you are interested in the women's game, then go and check out All for United WFC because they're all about the women's game at Manchester United. So I think Gyökeres is Arsenal bound, but yeah, that would be my thoughts on that one. But
MUFC 14 coming in and saying no more Chelsea.
He's right. Although they reckon Cole Palmer's a Manchester United fan, don't they? So
yeah.
Turkey, and I did see we were in for Turkey. I did see that.
Yeah, I think everybody's playing for Turkey, not only us.
Yeah, I think so. Chelsea are 2 up now. Thank you for that, Rushmano. Keep us in there. Oh, do you want to go back to the Rushmano, the Amarim quotes?
Yes, Ruben Amarim on Mason Mount. He trains really hard. Sometimes I have to push him back to take him out of the pitch because he wants to do so much more and be taking care of him, and he wants to play. So he's keeping that tight leash on Mason Mount because of this injury record, and I think that's a wise move when it comes to Mason Mount. And also Amarim on Mason Mount is not just a finish for the goal. It's the positioning that he has on the pitch. He's like a third midfielder that can reach the box, and he's really intelligent. He's getting there. And we have talked about this. It's about his movement, his runs, deep runs, diagonal runs. So I think he's an asset if he's injury-free and in form. So it will be interesting to see what's going on next season if he's in the starting 11 plans for Ruben Amarim. And the last comment from Amarim after the game is, I think we can help even more the young kids. Eriksen did quite well, but in the third goal, he needs more help. And these small things, we can help him out but more.
It's terrible, isn't it, from experienced footballers not helping out a young kid. So I'm glad he mentioned that. That's good that he's picked that out. And that will give Eriksen a lot of confidence moving forward. I hope he did something similar with Amos. I hope he said something similar about Amos.
Yeah. 1 hour, 31 minutes into the show. I don't have more. We will be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Jarvis's Corner as usual with the panel show. I don't know who will be on. Maybe Mick, maybe Noradin, maybe Boumbaye, maybe Cass. I will send out some invites.
Maybe me and you. We might be on, Jarvis. What do you reckon?
I might be on. I don't know about you.
Oh, God, what have I been kicked off there, right? Bloody hell, I've been fired live on air. I'm like Zach Starkey from The Who. Fired live on air. Shocking. Dear me. Yeah, I think, we like a panel show on a Monday. So, yeah, we could have a...
Yeah, and if any of you guys want to come on tomorrow on the panel, so send me a DM. I will send you the link and we will set it up. You know, you can stay with me and Stu and another panelist and discuss football. It's not dangerous, and we will help you out. You know, if it's your first time on YouTube, there's no worries. We will be here and see you through it.
Investigation. I am indeed. I'm always under scrutiny with Jarvis. He always drops him in message. You were rubbish tonight. You'd pull your finger out or you're gone. That's all I get from him. That's all I get.
I set high standards. High standards. No, I'm not. Only joking. But it's been great. It's been a great show. You know, the results weren't all that, but we will be back tomorrow. Jarvis's Corner, and Thursday night will be the big one.
Yes,
that will be the big one. So all eyes on Thursday night.
All eyes on Thursday.
Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Smash the like. I really mean it. Smash the like. Smash the like. Subscribe if you're new. 78 people watching. Brilliant show. Rushmano, Bath Time, Simba, Danny B, all of you legends. Thank you for tuning in. Stu and I will be back tomorrow night. Panel show, 9 p.m. Tune in. And that's the end of the show. So thank you, everybody. Raymond Pierce, yes, get the likes up to 50. Please do if you're watching it in a rerun. Please. And after the show, leave a comment. Tell me who was your man of the match. So thank you, everybody. And we will see you tomorrow night. Have a good one and bye-bye.